Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Horror 421, the podcast, with your host, your friendly small-town horror author, Charles Campbell. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the frights in this week's episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Horror 421, the podcast. I'm your host, small-town horror author, Charles Campbell. And today I have a very special guest. Been kind of bugging her for the last few years, trying to get her on the show. And she has finally agreed. 20 years ago, this movie came out and kind of blew my mind. But she is the lead actress of The Descent, and she's done so much more than that. But welcome to the show, Shauna Macdonald.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here, if you can't tell. And I definitely want to get right into it. You have done so much more than The Descent, and I would need another entire episode to cover everything you've done. And maybe I'll have you back for season 5 if you agree to that. But today we'll talk about The Descent because it's the 20-year anniversary, and you guys have a lot of things going on around that movie. So for my listening audience, if you could maybe give a little brief background on yourself, and then we'll get into some Q&A.
So, a background of myself as an actor, or just specifically with horror?
Generally as an actor, and you can sprinkle some horror in there, like what got you into the horror genre. I have a couple notes here I'm going to ask you.
Great. Okay, so I am a Scottish actor. I started acting when I was quite young. I got my first job when I was 16. And I think by the time we went to shoot it, I'd turned 17, but that was in a film called The Debt Collector. And I had one scene, and that one scene was with Billy Connolly. And I don't know if you know who
Billy Connolly is. Billy Connolly is. He was a comedian.
Yeah, he's like the Scottish god.
Yes. I've seen his stand-up. It was hilarious.
Oh, he's brilliant. So that was a good start. And then I did a couple of other jobs. I did something called Daybreak, which was an independent film, and then I got into a drama college. In that meantime, I'd managed to get an agent. So my agent was put me up for jobs whilst I was at drama college, and where I studied for 3 years. But I managed to sneak away and do some films and come back, and they were really good about me going to do stuff, because some drama colleges just lock you down and they don't want any sort of outside influence. So by the time I was 21, when I graduated, I'd done okay. You know, I'd had a decent CV. I moved down to London. I did something called Spooks. I think you guys, it's called MI5 over there. So a couple of series on television, and then I was supposed to go in and do the third series or the third season, but by the time that came along, they didn't really know what to do with my character. I didn't really know what to do with the character. I kind of didn't play the television game, and I think now the television game is that you go to anything that the producer invites you to and have conversations, and you're engaged and you have ideas, and I kind of thought it's like a play. You get your part and you just stick to it. I kind of didn't play it well. Anyway, so I had auditioned for this small film called The Descent, and it was this independent movie, fairly low to mid-budget, by this guy called Neil Marshall, and I'd seen Dog Soldiers, and I got the part, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. I'm supposed to, there we go, the making of. There's lots of great photos in there that I've never seen. So my agent, bless her, managed to get me out of this contract to do another season. And then I went to shoot The Descent. And I was only 23. I'm 44 now. So I was only 23 when I did The Descent. And we were shooting at Pinewood, and it was crazy. We'll talk a lot about The Descent. And since The Descent, it kind of, people will be so interested, but that's only until I'm 23. So I've done 6 horror movies in total. And I've got 3 kids. I live back in Scotland now. I also run an performing arts centre for young people called Edinburgh Youth Theatre, and it's accessible and inclusive. I'm still acting. I've got loads on my IMDb. I don't want to go through the whole filmography because you'll get really bored. But I've done things like people, you know, when I'm at conventions, and even if it's a horror convention, they'll still sneak in. Like, I'll sign things for Filth. I did a film called Filth with James McAvoy. I did Star Wars.
Yeah. I was going to bring all that up. That is cool.
Oh, yeah. In terms of my horror films, I did a film called Howl, which is werewolves on a train.
Loved it. It's on the train. Guys, watch it.
I did one called Nails, which
Saw
is
that too.
a haunted hospital. Nobody believes me. I did one called The White Chamber, which is less known.
I haven't seen that one.
Essentially, I'm stuck in a box for a really long time trying to get out of a box. And I did something called The Mutant Chronicles, which was based on a video game of the same name, I think.
Okay.
That's kind of more action horror. And I think I did something called The Hike. So, horror for me I love the genre. I don't watch many horror films because I am a big wimp. But when I say I love the genre, I love the feeling of working on a horror film, because everybody that works on a horror film they have this sort of giggly glee about it. And especially when the blood comes out, or the special effects makeups come out, or there's a big fight, or because horror, it's extremes, isn't it? And you get to really invest. There's nothing, well, I was going to say there's nothing subtle about horror films, but that's not entirely true, because I think you need to have like realistic portrayals of characters so the audience get on their side, and it's really important that they care whether they live or die. So it's not that it's big brush strokes, but you just get to really let loose in a horror film.
Oh, that's true. And horror crosses all types of genres and subgenres. And
Yeah.
you have the hack and slash where it's not taking itself seriously, but there's some really mind-blowing, deep thought horror films out there. And I say this now, for years I've said that The Descent is in my top 5 favorite horror movies, but I've changed that over the years. I now say it's in my top 5 favorite movies, not horror movies.
Oh, wow.
Because of the way it was shot, the way you guys portrayed your characters, and the way it was written. I'm a small town horror author, and that story was written so well by Neil. And I loved everything about that film. And I saw the United States version first, and then afterwards I saw the UK version. I lean towards the UK version myself.
Yeah.
But they're both great.
Yeah. We did test screenings in America, and apparently you guys found it too bleak. And I was like,
I loved it.
At this point, surely it's kinder to keep her in there because she thinks she's with her daughter.
Exactly.
So for her, it's not bleak. It's a happy ending.
Yep, and that's the way I felt too. And I love that ending so much more. So let's get into The Descent a little bit. We talked about, where you were at the time. You were doing something called The Spooks. So tell me how you and Neil connected and what started the ball rolling to get your involvement in The Descent.
So, I mean, it's so long ago that this is back in the day when your agent would phone you, maybe on a landline, and ask you to come into the office to pick up a script. You didn't tend to email scripts. The file was too big. Sometimes if you haven't had a fax machine, they might email you some scenes. But the easiest way was to physically get yourself to the office and pick up a brown envelope in which was a script. And that's just so much more exciting. I mean, I wish it was the case now. So I took the script, and I was living in London at the time, and I had to get the train up to Scotland. And at that time, it took about 5 hours. I mean, it's quicker now. And I had this time with a friend on the train, and I said to my friend Simon, I said, I've got to read this script, and it's horror. He's like, what's it about? I'm like, well, it's about 6 girls that go caving. It's going to be really, I don't know, it's just going to be a bit tongue-in-cheek and a bit too sexualized, and I just don't know if I want, because it's back in the 2000s where lots of lad mags is what we called it in Britain, FHM and Loaded, and everything was just a bit sexualized, even though we're coming off the tail end of Spice Girls and girl power and all that. It hadn't really solidified, and I was quite young. I wanted to be a serious actor, whatever that really means, and I thought, oh God, I don't know if this is going to be the right move. Anyway, Simon was like, and I'd seen Dog Soldiers, and he's like, Shauna, honestly, I think this is going to be amazing. Anyway, so we start reading it together. He says, well, you read it with me. We'll read the parts together. And then as soon as my husband gets the pole through his head and it goes through to my daughter, I was like, I'm in. What a brilliant start to a film. This is excellent.
That was amazing. And I did start reading the book that I picked up, and that was Neil's niece. Did I read that right?
Yeah, little Molly. And little Molly is not little Molly anymore. She's 28. And I met her for the first time again a couple of months ago because they showed The Descent in Fright Fest. And I flew down to be with Neil. And Neil was like, Molly's coming, Molly's coming. And it's just so bizarre because she is the passage of time.
Yeah. Oh
She
yeah.
embodies it, you know. 8 to 28 is hugely different.
Oh, I'm 56 and we have a 30-year-old daughter, so I definitely get it.
You get it, you know. So it was so lovely to be with her, and she was so sweet. And of course, I think actually she did see. Did she see the monsters? But I think she was part of the process, and she certainly wasn't scared. But there's a really cute little outtake on the DVD extras, and you hear the first Jack shout action, and she turns to Ollie. Oh, you got it, Ollie, who plays my husband, and goes, "My uncle's supposed to say that." So she was really proud of her uncle for doing this film. But she was a total joy. She was so sweet. Anyway, so I read this film and I'm totally hooked. And then I go to the audition and they'd already cast Beth, who was played by Alex Reed. So Alex was there to read with me. And the scene that they got us to do, or one I remember, was they got us to crawl through these chairs. And it's the scene that Sarah first gets stuck in the tunnel.
And she says a little joke.
Yes, and it's like, well, okay, you just get thrown in at the deep end. Basically, can you play these really, really high stakes? Are you going to go there? We don't want actors that just will sit and read. So they did make me go through the gambit, and then I had another callback in another weird office, but the office, they just couldn't, sorry for them, they couldn't get the chairs, so I had to do lots of sitting in a chair because there was this massive table acting. And anyway, so and I think they're they had 6 girls to cast, so they're putting this jigsaw together. And when I got the part, I was totally thrilled. But they did make us do like this screen test at Pinewood, and they told us, Juno was the last to be cast, Natalie was the last to be cast. They found it really hard to find a Juno, I think, and she's amazing. I mean, they totally lucked out with Natalie. And they made us do this screen test in Pinewood, and I always felt, because you hear stories of actors, they get really far and they get fired during the read through or something. I thought,
Right.
I don't quite believe it. So it's not really until you complete your first week of filming, because then you figure it out that it's going to be too expensive to replace you, that you can relax. So yeah, it was really amazing.
Well, that's the other thing. Somehow, some way, Neil put together a wonderful group of actors, and your guys' chemistry. Every one of you like hit the nail on the head, and the character development was there. So you kind of, I did anyway. I cared when you guys were being picked off one by one. So
Yeah.
for me. I thought your chemistry with all of the cast members, especially Alex, who played Beth,
Oh yeah.
and Natalie, who played Juno,
Yeah.
it just came shining through. So, tell me about the process of working with those actors, and did you feel an instant connection with each one of them? Did you feel a chemistry?
Did. We did. The casting director was very clever and got amazing humans. They're just, when we did the film, we did all this press. People wanted us to reveal that there was infighting and bitchiness, and because we were females,
Right.
6 females together, and there was never ever any of that. We were very supportive. We were very committed, and we took our jobs really, really seriously. And I don't think that's anything to do with being female. I think that's just young actors getting an amazing opportunity and just really wanting to grab the bull by the horns. And it was, it was hard work in terms of, the hours are really long. There's lots of physical activity. You're exhausted, and you've got to do big, high emotions. So you can only really do that well if there's like a level of trust and respect. And which is very uncommon now, we had like 2 or 3 weeks before we started to shoot, we were employed to do rehearsals and training, which was amazing. So lots of our, we did lots of climbing, and there's a really quick way to bond someone is to go up, a rock face, and the other person literally having your life in their hands with the rope. So we did climbing, and we went caving for real, which was don't go caving. Like, don't do it. It's so claustrophobic and scary. It's so beautiful. I wish I was as hard and kick-ass as Sarah, but it's just so disorientating and otherworldly, because obviously it's subterranean. You're underground. It's like going, I guess, what scuba divers must feel when they go into the ocean. Another place I don't really want
Yep.
to go.
Nope.
So we did lots of that, and I think because we knew that we had to be friends as well, you just make the time for each other. But we were young and we had no caring commitments, and we were all more than happy to spend all our time together, and we really loved each other. And it was a laugh. They're really funny. We are very funny women, and and just I love them all still. We're such good friends now, which is really uncommon to be able to sort of hold a 20-year.
Well, that's actually on my list here to ask you. Are you still in touch with the cast? And
Yeah,
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 nice.
yes,
That
all
is
of them. We've got a WhatsApp group.
that is awesome because you said you were in your early 20s when you filmed this, but all
Yeah,
of you were so freaking, and I almost said the other word, freaking professional.
yeah.
And I believed that you were all the best of friends. And Juno being her
Yes,
shady self, she kind of irritated me a little
yeah.
bit.
And Natalie is so lovely
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But
very good
to
actors.
abandon you in your time of need and the other things that her
I know,
character did, I was like,
I
oh
know,
man.
I
But
know what she like. But yeah, yeah, we are such good pals now, and have remained good pals, and good pals in the sense that you're there when things are really good and when things are really shit as well. That sort of good pal
oh, nice,
status.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to have friends like that, especially friends that you've worked together with, and that's awesome. I want to turn to the set pieces a little bit because those really interested me. Because I looked in the book, I read in the book that those were actually built sets. You weren't in caves, but damn,
Yeah,
they looked really really real and they looked really really claustrophobic. Can you tell me
yeah.
your first day on the set? How was that for you?
Um, so the first day on the set was amazing. We were taken round and shown the set, and also you've got so sort of we kind of were told the design. We weren't shown anything about the crawlers because Neil wanted us to be genuinely terrified when we saw them, but also he wanted an element of suspense, and it was fun for him to do, and it was actually fun for us because we're like, oh my god, what are they going to look like? And so he told us about the set, but when we saw it, I couldn't believe that it was real because it's made out of polystyrene. It's like this foam that they shoot out and then they mold it and it hardens and it's polystyrene. It's so light you could pick up a massive boulder and throw it across the room.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were like, oh God, it's going to be polystyrene. We're going to really have to imagine. And then you go on set and it's like, wow, it looks like the caves that we were caving in for real as part of our training, but more epic, more um, Simon Bowles, the designer, wanted the system of caves to completely change color, for each
Right.
episode of the descent, for each section. And if you look at it, it starts very red, and then it changes, and then at the end, um, it's black and white really with the bones.
Yeah.
um, so that was one of the reasons why they couldn't film in a real cave, because caves are kind of, the color is a bit monotonous, and they thought the the viewer would disengage. That and also the safety element.
I was going to say it was probably super dangerous to film in real caves.
There were some scenes that they thought maybe we can get them just entering into the cave. And anyway, so they did recce with that in mind, sort of wishful thinking, I think, really. But so we had 3 massive stages at Pinewood Studios, which felt very exciting. And every night we'd go home and the art department would come in, chop it up, change it, and make it the next part of the cave system. Because they had to save, well, not save money, but just do it on a budget.
Oh, yeah.
We shot chronologically going through the cave system. Unfortunately, fortunately for in terms of, keeping track of your emotional journey, it was really great. But we only shot chronologically to the point of being in the cave, because when she escapes, we actually shot that in the first week of filming. So when I come out, I'm actually really clean. And that's because we had no idea how dirty we were actually going to get. And we get away with it because you've been in the dark for so long and you come into the light. But I remember them in the first week of making me up. And we were going, oh my God, I'm so disgusting. And then by the actual end of filming in the cave, and the last shot of the whole film that we did was me on the ledge with the firebrand and the cake and Molly. And I'm just caked, like everything, like my hair, you can sort of break it, it's everything is just like caked with mud and blood and tears and snot and everything.
Nice. That kind of segues into my next question. It looked like and you already mentioned it, it looked like a very physically demanding film. What were some of the physical challenges you faced in making this film? Or are there any that stick out in your brain, something that, maybe was really, really, really tough to pull off for you?
Yeah. Well, I really wanted Sarah to look a bit of a beast. Like if we'd had longer, I would love to sort of appear like James McAvoy does in Split, or is it Split, the one where he's like, maybe it's not.
Yeah, they
Split,
did a
maybe it's
trilogy. They did Glass,
yeah, the
Split,
one where he's
and
like his neck has like
yeah.
crippled his eyes. I'm like, okay, how muscular can I get Sarah by the end? And unfortunately, obviously filmed me coming out first. And it's like, okay, so if we ignore her, she comes out and she's still quite, I'm going to do as many press-ups as I possibly can. So for the stuff when she's covered in blood and when she's hanging on, I just want her to look animalistic and just primal and just beast-like. Like she is fighting for her life, and I want her to look dangerous. So I thought, okay, without, a nutritionalist or whatever. So I would be filming in the day and I'd be going to the gym and trying to do all that stuff. And of course, like we're all, I don't want to say proper actors, but in the sense that we were all coming to the script with our experience of being, dramatic actors. So we've already done all the hard work in terms of the character arc and what do you want in the scene and what your obstacles and the emotions and all that. We've done all that stuff. But this sort of physicality of a character, I'd never really done that before. Thinking really about the image of her and, wanting the audience to be almost scared of her. Like, I don't want to bump into her in an alleyway at night time. So that was sort of hard to do just in terms of, it's just physically demanding. But to be honest, everything that was physically demanding was just so much fun. And I remember the fight sequence at the end that Natalie and I do, and Sarah, when they're fighting for their lives.
Oh, geez, when you drop that chain, I'm like, oh my God. Oh,
and she knows it. She knows she's in trouble at that moment.
Yep.
But one of the crawlers, Craig Conway, who's one of the sort of lead crawlers, he had hurt his ankle during a rehearsal, so he had to get shipped off to go to hospital. So in the crawler ranks, we promoted one of the other crawlers who's actually he was quite a slight actor, very thin and slight. So the end is supposed to be like these, yes. Oh, I love that, Fangoria, that's brilliant. So we were all pumped up for this fight, and of course, nothing goes to plan because that's life. And you've just got to be able to I don't know, roll with the punches, no pun intended. So that fight sequence at the end, we could have panicked, but we didn't. And we just like got our head down, sorted out the sequence, and then we all just went for it. And we are still fighting men, you know. They are still big, you know, strong, agile, really scary looking guys. And we didn't, my memory, and Saskia has a different memory, but my memory is that we never talked to them at all. Maybe that's just what I've convinced myself. But Saskia was like, Shauna, what are you talking about? We had cups of tea and bourbon biscuits between us. Oh, I don't remember that. Maybe I didn't chat to them as much. Because certainly when we were doing those sort of scenes, we were kept apart because Neil just wanted sort of this clash of the titans
Right.
when we were together. So it was intimidating, you know. It was quite frightening, but in a safe way, and everybody's just, you know, really hyped up to do it.
Now, when you were in the big puddle of blood scene and you come up, was that a female crawler that attacked you, or did
That's
a
right.
female play that part? I'm just curious.
A female did play that part, and bless her, she had no idea what she was stepping into. And her costume, because everything is hand painted in this prosthetics, so there was a very thin layer protecting her modesty. And when we're in this blood pool, you know, it's starting to come off, and I could see her panic going, what the fuck film is this? What am I doing? I mean,
Oh shit!
honestly, we're playing it straight. It's not like that. Because I was trying to reassure this woman, and that sequence looks
It
amazing. That
does.
whole, so I hope she's like, she feels okay about it, because she looked amazing, and also the actors playing the crawlers. They, you know, however we complained about being tired or cold, we made sure not to do it when the crawlers were there because they'd been at Pinewood since 3 in the morning, and they were naked apart from modesty, and they had, I think their makeup started 7 hours and went down to 5 hours or something like that, and they've still got to take it off at the end of the shooting day.
My
So
goodness.
yeah, and they're fighting the floor they just covered with builder's sand because they just didn't, you know, you never really focus on what was on the floor. There's a bit, if you look really hard, you can see a little bit when Holly dies, a bit of the floor. But their, you know, their arms are getting scratched to bits with all this. So the girls were very good at, if we've got a complaint about being cold and tired, we don't say it in front of the actors playing the crawlers.
Well, I want to stay on the crawler subject for 1 second. We talked a little bit in detail about the crawlers themselves, but you said that Neil didn't reveal the crawlers to you immediately. That it was kind of organic while you're filming. So tell me how
Yes.
all of you reacted, if you remember, to
Yeah.
seeing the crawlers for the first time.
So because in the cave system it was, we got to shoot chronologically. Sarah sees the crawler first. So I had seen the crawler literally just
You got the
down
brief
the end.
glance in the movie. It was a brief
Yeah,
shot.
that was it.
Yeah.
And then they whisked him away, and I didn't see him. You know, there's, you know, what people don't really fully appreciate until they visit a set is it's lots of hanging about. You're usually waiting for them to light it. And actors, because we're really just children in bigger bodies, just love to talk and play and just chat, and you know, and they just did not want that between us, and they didn't mind it with the girls together because we were meant to be friends, but they didn't want to break that concentration. So the girls were asking me, what did it look like? And I'm like, I don't know. It was like white and weird, and it looked like a bit, I don't know, vampire-ish, but a bit slimy. So they're trying to get all the information out of me, and I'm like, I could really hardly see it. And then it left like much the same as
Just
Sarah
like the
was like,
film, huh?
there's this thing. Honestly, guys. And then when the big reveal comes, it's actually Sarah's point of view through the night vision in the camcorder.
Oh,
So they
really? When you're.
yes, so
Oh.
yes, so they didn't want me to be trusted. Fair enough. To get capture the reveal. So Sam McCurdy took the camera. So I actually got to watch the other girls see it for the first time. So Sam McCurdy takes the camera. I'm sitting, you know, in Video Village just so I can see them and everything, just to the side. We're in one of these massive stages in Pinewood. It's huge. And then they turn the big light off, as we say in Scotland. They turn like the house lights off. And everyone freezes in their spot. We do the scene up until the reveal, and then they freeze in their spot. And then Craig Conway is brought on under a blanket, just in case the girls peek, because they're literally like. And he goes in and he crouches behind. There's like this rock that you can hide behind, Beth's character. And so they take it off, and then they get the lighting, and everybody's ready, and they shout action, and they go back a bit, and then they do it. Hello, is there anybody there? Hello. And then the camera pans to Alex, and Craig lures up like Nosferatu, and the girls lose their shit, and they run to the fire exit, the actual stage fire exit, and they're just like, ah!
Get me out of here.
That's the natural reaction. So Neil, all that effort that he put into, I want to get their natural reaction, he couldn't use it, so we had to act it in the end. And I think we pulled it off with our acting, but it was hilarious. It was so funny because we'd managed to, pull the wool over everybody's eyes and pretend like we're really hard, and we're these really rock hard actors. We may be female, but we're not scared of anything, guys, and we're going to work hard for this film. And then they show us a crawler, and we're like, ah!
Jeez, I would have been like George Costanza when they yelled fire. I would have ran out of that place so fast. That's crazy. I'd be pushing women and children out of the way. Ah, let me out of here. That's nuts. Well, you had such wonderful co-stars, and one I will mention Oliver, but he was in there so briefly. But I do want to give him a shout out because he kind of started the film, and then it was just off to you ladies. Tell me how it was working with Oliver and what he brought to the set. And I don't know a lot about Oliver, so I'd like to hear a little bit about him and how he contributed.
He was great. He was loads of fun, and yeah, he was really sweet and gentle and no ego. He'd been in a big television thing. It escaped me because it's 20 years ago. But nobody expected it, and certainly in the UK, it's a real shock when Oliver Milburn dies. So that was clever casting at that time. He'd just come off something that had, this is way before streaming.
Right,
so,
he was super popular in the UK,
totally.
then they're thinking, this guy's in the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was great casting. But I think he had one day. That was actually shot in Scotland in a place called Pitlochry, it's on the way to the Highlands. It's like you've got this area called the Trossachs, and then you hit the Highlands. But really beautiful, and we were staying in this like kind of like the Shining Hotel. There's this massive old hotel in Pitlochry that looks like the Shining Hotel, and it's got a really long, winding drive to get up to it. So we were all staying there, and I don't think the girls would mind me saying that we'd work really hard, and then we would play quite hard as well, because why not? Especially when film crews go on location, everyone's away from home. They're like, shall we go to the bar? Yes, we'll go to the bar. So, Oliver just jumped in and was just super fun and just a really nice presence to have on set. Oh yes, and we did also do another day. We needed the crash had to be in a controlled environment, and we shot that in Silverstone, which is a racetrack. So we had to do the crash in a different space.
Well, that's pretty cool. I do want to be respectful of your time. I know you have somewhere to be today, so I appreciate you joining the podcast. But I do have one question, and it may be putting you on the spot. Because all of you work so well together, is there a feature you can point out about each castmate of the women that you work with? Something that you remember fondly about each one of them?
Well,
they're not dead, but...
Well, I would say, okay, so Miana is so intelligent, such an amazing actor, can do any accent. She speaks fluent Swedish. Well, she is Swedish. And sometimes it sounds like she's making it up. Swedish is one of those amazing languages. I'm like, you're just making that up.
Miana played
Um,
Sam, correct?
she played Sam, and she is like, oh, she's got a massive heart. Whenever I go to London, I stay with Miana, and our families like feel connected. Like she's just so easy to get along with, but she has friends from all over the world. Like she's so cultured and so respectful of cultures that her life is just full of people from all over the place, you know? And she always says yes, you know? Can I come in? Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And she lived in the Middle East a lot. So she'll do this thing where she will give you something always from her home.
Oh.
So I always come back and Carol's like, have you been at Miana? It's like, yes, yes, I've been at Miana.
Nice.
Saskia is a goddess,
Rebecca.
and
She played Rebecca. Okay.
she is fiercely intelligent. She speaks like 4 languages. She's also a published author. She's this kick-ass agent now,
Nice.
and she is like a huge emotional support. But if you want some like hard talking to, especially about the industry, she's really good at that, you know? And she's fiercely loyal and a lot of fun and very funny. Like the girls are all funny. That goes without saying. NJ is like this, Nora Jane is this kind of, she's Irish, but she's got that sort of Celtic, creative otherworldliness about her, you know, in terms of being an amazing storyteller, and she's so talented. She's also a writer, but she's also very gentle and loving and warm, also really funny. And they're all amazing mothers as well. Alex is she could drink me under the table probably still to this day. Her acting is phenomenal. With Alex, she doesn't show you the joins, so it sometimes goes unnoticed. I think she's the best thing in The Descent because she's so natural, and you don't. That's not her being herself. That's her just being an amazing actor.
She is so good. She is
She
so
is
good.
so good. And on the page, it wasn't funny, and she just made it really funny. And I remember, how are you doing that? I don't understand how you just did that.
Well, she got your character's ass moving when she needed to, too. I mean,
Yeah,
let's go.
absolutely. Forceful. She's got all the colors, and it's a light touch. She just sort of lightly touches her work, but that's because she's thought about it really hard, and nothing is overplayed. She never emotes, and sort of in life, she is like that. She's she's completely solid but playful and reliable and just a lovely human being. And Natalie is just another goddess in a sort of way that she's an amazing singer, amazing dancer, amazing actor, so beautiful. And sometimes when I listen to her life and where she's been, because she's all over the place, I'm like, you're just like another being. Like how it's like how are you existing? I feel like that my life is like, I don't know, it feels a bit mundane sometimes compared to Natalie, who's just having this amazing, experience somewhere, or she's met these amazing people and she's just traveling. They're all just, I don't know, they've like enriched my life so much, and we're very straightforward with each other, and we've been there for each other, and that's why ultimately our friendship has lasted so long, because we say what we do what we're gonna. We do what we said we were going to do. So I will be there. I've got a show opening. I'll be there. Or it's my birthday party. I'll come down for that. I'm getting married. We're there. We show our love with our time and being there for each other.
Well, thank you for showing some love to me today with your time. I appreciate that.
Not at all. You caught me. I saw another message, and I thought, do you know what? I think I really would love to talk to Charles.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
He's such
And
a fan.
I know you have something coming up to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the descent. I don't remember exactly what it was. I saw it on Instagram. So if you want to share
Yes,
that with the listening audience, because I'm sure I have
yes.
some listeners in the UK, hopefully.
Oh, great. Well, they're doing a 4K restoration. So across cinemas right now in the UK, you can see me. So I think The View and Cineworld and where I live in Edinburgh, the Everyman Cinema are doing a very special screening tomorrow. And I'm doing a Q&A afterwards. And then in London, the Everyman Cinema are doing the same, and they've got the amazing Neil Marshall doing a Q&A afterwards. So it's really nice to, see, kind of get so much more from it. I mean, it's a great watching it at home, but the sound in a cinema, all the crawler noises and the ticking and the water dripping and the child
Oh yeah,
laughter.
yeah.
Oh, it's great.
If they do
Yeah.
that here in the U.S., I definitely want to go. I don't know if they're going to do that here, where they re-release
Well,
the film.
hopefully, maybe they'll see how it's gone down here. But I mean, people have shown it in caves. I would go. Like, I hear, oh, I saw your movie and I was in a cave, and I was like, what? Invite me. I would go. That sounds pretty
If
cool.
they really want to fuck with people, they'd have crawlers dressed up in the cave while they're watching. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank you again for your time. I'm going to give you another minute or two to plug anything you'd like. If you want people to know where they can find you, any events or book signings.
Yeah.
I'm an author, so I say book signings. So, but any conventions that you're going to be at, please share away.
Well, I've just done a whole load of conventions. I'm going to be in Germany next year, but
Okay.
if you follow me on Instagram, it's is it Shauna Macdonald official or the
That is
official Shauna
that is
Macdonald?
correct.
Yeah. I have shied away from Instagram for far too long. So don't be put off by my small number of followers, because it's only in the last month I've said to myself, you either have to commit or go home, Shauna. You're either doing Instagram or you're not. So I'm going to do it for 6 months,
Okay.
and I'm going to commit to it and give you guys some content and, just do the thing. So I will be putting up on the Instagram any new thing I've got coming out. I've got
Awesome.
something coming out on November the 16th called Summer Water, which is a Channel 4 television show. So hopefully we will get it onto another service so people in the US can. Oh, great! Oh,
Soundtrack.
is that the record?
Yeah, it's the soundtrack.
Oh, great! Yeah.
That was great too.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, thank you again for being on the show. I am Charles Campbell, small town horror author. My latest book is called Three Knocks. You can pick it up at valleyboypublications.com. All my links are there. And wow, it was a great way to close out season 4 of Horror 421, the podcast. The show will be back in February 2026. Maybe I can have Shauna on next season to talk about all the other shit she's done, because she's done a lot more than The Descent, and I'd love talking to her. So thank you again, Shauna.
Oh, thank you, Charles. My pleasure.
All right, you guys have fun until next season.